If you go back to our experience of past 3 decades, this has been two antipodal stories, mutually contradictory. Great achievements, at the same time, lingering doubts about how we're going to move forward. Great achievements in the sense, if you look at the size of the economy in the past 30 years, it has grown by 45 folds, not 45%, 45 folds. Per capita income has increased by 29 folds, and our national revenue has increased by almost 100 folds. Then you might say, well, that's not the only story. Inflation also is there. Price has gone up by 10 times. If you factor that in, still our economy grew by 4.5 times. Our per capita income grew by almost 3 times, and our revenue, government revenue, has increased by almost 10 times. That's a lot of achievement to so far compared to any other country in the world. We're pretty good. In terms of our life expectancy, back then, life expectancy used to be 54 years of age, now 71 years plus. In 30 years, our life expectancy has gone up by 17 years. That's huge accomplishment by any standard. And that's not the only it. Our maternal mortality rate from 850 per 100,000 live births, it has gone down to little less than 200 per 100,000 live births today. Infant mortality from almost a little over 100 to less than 20 today. That's huge accomplishment. If you look at our achievement in literacy, health, education, every sphere we've been that. I mean, half of Nepal was illiterate back then. 2/3 of Nepal did not get drinking water. 1 in 10 did not get electricity. 1 in 15 did not get sanitation. Today, almost everybody has it. Almost everybody, not everybody. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. Then still, why is there frustration? Why is that people are not feeling very happy? This lingering doubt. Will you make it? Will we be able to make it to what we want to achieve? A lot of people have doubts. That's precisely the reason why every day almost 2,000 people leave this country. As they board the flight, they feel that they're emancipated. Bright future awaits for them. That's a huge tragedy for us. That's the other side of the story. If we do not factor that in, if we do not keep in our mind that despite all that's happening, youth still are not convinced that we have a future today in Nepal. We have to change that. If we cannot change that, then that probably is going to create a room for chaos, anarchy. And probably the first order of business for this will be to policymakers, politicians, bureaucracy, and anybody who matters, entrepreneurs, business people. How do we get about doing that? That's precisely what we should be thinking about today, to make sure that youth do not feel frustrated, to make sure that people do feel that there is opportunity awaiting here. I mean, telling a good story is not going to do any good. I mean, we have to be able to do that. How do we go about doing that? First, we have to get the politics right. Politics, today, most of the people feel that it's not going right. I can say that very safely because I have also been in politics for a long time. So I can very easily say that politics has not gone right. A lot of people kind of feel that so many coalitions are changing. Today there's one coalition, tomorrow another coalition will be formed. One coalition fights the election, the other coalition forms the government, and then the government also within the same leadership, coalitions keep on changing. A lot of people kind of think, most of the youth kind of think that you worry about your job, you have simply no time to worry about my job. Who's going to worry about my job? Because they probably are thinking that, yes, we've done pretty well in the past 30 years, but what about tomorrow? We wrote Constitution. I mean, this has been a struggle for a long time. More 70 years of struggle. We wrote a Constitution, and then after having written the Constitution, where do we go from here? And then you worry about your job, who is going to worry about my job? That's the mindset that's there. That has to change. And that's the reason why I'm saying politics has to get right. And getting politics right is going to generate hope, instill confidence, and then show people a path towards prosperity. And what are the things that we have to get there? One of the first things we need to do is we have to improve our physical infrastructure. We have very limited infrastructure, not just because it's limited, but it's more so because we have a rugged topography. Rugged topography, with this topography, I mean, if we cannot improve the infrastructure, if we do not spend a lot of money in infrastructure, cost of transportation is not going to go down. If the cost of transportation is not going to go down, we cannot be competitive in the world. We have absolutely no future in manufacturing. Yes, of course, there's a limit to it, but at the same time, I guess one of the first things that we need to do is get the infrastructure right. And getting infrastructure right is not easy. Infrastructure just does not get it done because there's so many things. I mean, if you look at the contractors, if you look at the money that needs to be made, I don't need to tell you a story about a story from farther away. If you just look at Pokhara Airport, we're building infrastructure, but we have not been able to put that to use. So without thinking if we create the infrastructure, that's not to see, that's not to touch. You want tourists coming in here. You want businesses springing up here. You want many entrepreneurs starting business out here and then sending many things out to the other countries. And that's not happening. And then if you look at the road infrastructure also, we have not been very punctual. We get things going, and then there is a massive and long delay. That's in a way quite frustrating. But certainly infrastructure has to improve. There's a way, I'll come back to this a little later, but before that, let me talk about a few other areas. Hydropower. We have all heard about tremendous potential Nepal has in the field of hydropower. People, we do not get tired of talking about 83,000 megawatts of electricity. But I mean, if we think of electricity for a little while, I mean, yes, we have a future 10, 15, 20 years down the road. I mean, from today to 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And hydropower and especially electricity part of it is going to be very important. We'll be making more money, we'll be exporting that, making foreign currency. But there's a limit to it. In today's world, there are many other renewable energies that are available. I know of people in many other countries where they generate more electricity from sun, solar power from home, and they add more electricity to national grid than take electricity away from national grid. We'll also soon be that society. Our neighbors will also soon be that society. So after 15, 20 years, then hydropower will be less of electricity, but more of regulated water flow. Regulated water flow for drinking purposes, regulated water flow for irrigation. And then regulated water flow basically prevents us from the vagaries of natural calamities. I mean, we've all seen, drought, landslide, flash floods, they're ruining us. I mean, and if water flow is regulated, that's not going to happen. Disaster preparedness is what will be if we do that. And then next is tourism. Tourism's really big because of serene beauty that we have today. And there's no other place in the world as beautiful as Nepal is. But when bringing people here, infrastructure is needed. Bringing people here, marketing is needed. Bringing people here, meaning being able to take them to where they want to go. If they want to do mountaineering, if they want to do adventure tourism, if they want to just relax on the sun, we have to have facility for that. And that's another thing. And third, and in tourism, the another potential that we have is because of the culture, because of the religion, Hindu people and Buddhists, that's a huge market, both on the north and on the south. And that's another tremendous potential that we have. Tourism's going to stay with us as long as Nepal is there. Tourism's not going to go away. So every day we'd be making more money from tourism, but we have to get that right. Another potential is agriculture. Agriculture, because we import so much today. We produce more rice than in the past. We produce more fruits than in the past. We produce more meat than in the past. We produce more vegetables than in the past. And because of that, we import so much. And then if we cannot do import substitution, start producing ourselves,
then we'll be ruining, we'll be spending the money, foreign exchange money that we earn every day from a lot of people who go outside and send remittance home. And not only that, then again, we have to think about the impact it's going to create. Agriculture is everywhere, even out in the rural area. People, every home depends on agriculture. So it's going to be a great equalizer. Will bring people out of the poverty. It's going to decrease the inequality in the population, and bringing people to prosperity, reducing inequality. Certainly is going to make people convinced that there is a future. There is something I can do. And then the last thing is remittance. Remittance for every 100 rupee that we produce in Nepal. We do agriculture, we do manufacturing, we do services, we do schools, we do tourism, we do hydropower, all of that. The value of that, if that is 100, we add another 25 by bringing remittances home. So remittance very big, and very big. Some of the very bright statistics I alluded to at the beginning are because of remittance that we bring home. If remittance were not there, we probably would not have been there. So that in that sense, remittance is very important. So, but how are we going to use that remittance? Just to import from outside or produce from inside in the country? If we cannot, then we are not going to get anywhere. Let me move now to cross-cutting issues. These are the areas, but to be able to get where we want to go, first, one of the first things that we need to do is gender empowerment. That's not just moral imperative. Almost half of the population, they do not working age population. They do not work, or even if they do, meaning formal work, they work very hard, but unpaid work. So bringing them to labor force, making sure that the work is paid for, making sure that they have dignity, that's going to do tremendous good. We can really increase our economy much faster if we can mainstream gender today. And that's the reason a lot of people talk about moral imperative. Moral imperative is important, but equally important is that's better economics. It's a smart economics. Another would be because we have a rugged topography. Every year we face a lot of natural calamities. You all know. So being prepared to mitigate those natural disasters, reducing them so that the impact is going to be minimum. It will be there, but making it minimum, that's the way we have to move forward. And that's precisely what I would mean by natural disaster preparedness. It's not going to go away. We can reduce it, but it will not go away, but we have to be prepared for that. And then to all of the things that we've talked about, one of the things that's really promising for a country like ours is the possibility that artificial intelligence is going to take up from where we are today. Artificial intelligence is going to touch everything. Nothing is there that will not be touched, that will not be influenced, that will not be impacted by artificial intelligence. But how do we make use of that? For that, education is important. For that, health is very important. We have to upskill, reskill, and then lifelong learning is important. And if we do not do that, we probably will be left behind on this revolution also. To be on top of it, nothing stops us. Nothing stops us. Our topography does not stop us. Our infrastructure does not stop us. We can get there. But for that, education, I pointed out, is important, and that's going to create employment. Employment within the country. We can be offshore center. We can be outsourcing hub, but we are not going to get there. It has to be a step-by-step process. For probably on the coattails of China and India, we probably can develop our artificial intelligence, create more employment, and then it comes a point when we can just move forward and achieve what needs to be achieved in terms of being able to generate employment. And finally, having said all of that, still has to be governance. If governance does not improve, we're not going to get anywhere. With the frustration that's there, we're not going to get anywhere. We are prone to an accident. First, and then again, we have to be able to generate hope, instill confidence, and that's the only way for prosperity. And for that, we have to address the systemic and structural challenges that lie there. And to get that done, we have to ensure that the government's right to make sure that feeling is there. We have to be able to generate confidence of people in the government. If the people do not have confidence in the in government, if people do not have confidence in business, if people do not have confidence in their own business, their own future, they will not stay here. They will be leaving country in flocks. Even the ones who do not leave will compare their life with others. And then when they see that the life's not improving, all they have need, they will, all they can do it, fall prey to slogans of populism and take country towards untoward direction. We don't want that to happen, and for that, governance has to improve. And the final thing I would like to point out is we're very fortunate to be a country situated between India and China. That's not by choice. We simply are there. Both of these countries are making great, great strides today. China is established great power, India is aspiring great power. And we are lucky enough to move from the psychology of landlocked country to land-linked country. And land-linked Nepal is a better Nepal, tomorrow's Nepal, and the path forward. And for that, first step is we put our acts together wherever we are, teachers, entrepreneurs, professionals, politicians, civil servants. If we all put our acts together, and young people, if you do not lose hope, we'll get there. Thank you.